Okay, continuing in PowerPoint, we're going to go on to Lab 3. So if we look at this under the submittal, and there once again there's a lot of videos here that you can look at if you need it. And let's look at these lab directions for Lab 3. So for Lab 2, we should have continued on. We just added images, word art, and slide footer. Lab 3, we're going to continue entering content, and it should contain all of the above from Lab 1 and 2. You also should add smart art, a graph, a chart, and some shapes. So let's get with it. Let's see what I've done with this Dodgers presentation. As you can see as I scroll through, I've added some more pictures. I've added some more information to work with. And so there's one here that is really funny, and I'm not going to show you that until the end. But let's see what we need to do. Let me get my list out here, okay? So we need to add a smart art, graph, and shapes. So while you're doing this, go ahead and make some changes to what you've already entered. You've thought about it a little bit. Now take a look. Now, the first thing is my first screen. I think I should have, what do you think? You think I should have this a little larger? So the font should be larger in this. And let's see what I can do. I'm going to have to drag this down because it's way off the top of the screen. So let's go down a little bit. Then I think that this picture should probably be right down the middle, don't you? Well, I can't see. It looks like I'm farther to the left than I am to the right. There's something that you can do to see how you are on the page. And if you go over here to the view and you go over here to your grid lines, you see these little, I'm going to make this larger. You can see these dotted lines, and it's 1 square inch for these dotted lines. So let's get back here and look at it. I can either go and see there's a half one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's 11 inches. So I can figure with this text box, I can center that. That looks about centered. Then I can figure out my picture and pretty much get it centered. And what you can see is this line right down here is the center. And you also have the center here. There's something else you can do though if you just want to mark the center. Take the grid lines off and put the guides. And the guides is a clear marking of the center, vertical and horizontal. So this shows me a lot clearer that that's really more centered and probably about there. So that's one way that you can center. I'm going to take my guides off here. If I go to the next slide and I want this title centered, you can do it like I just showed you with the guides, or you can increase the size of your text box, margin to margin, and then go to your Home tab and center the text within the text box. So that's another way to do it. So whichever way you want to do it. As you see, I changed the title to blue because the Dodgers are blue. So I'm going to click on the outside border like I showed you before to select the whole text box. And this is the blue. That's more like the Dodger blue. And I'm going to change it to bold. So I found out some more information about the Dodgers. If I wanted to make this wider so that there's all of this is on one line, I can widen the text box. So I can do that. I even found a picture from the Dodgers from 1913. And there is the Brooklyn logo. Now, going on. Let me see here. Text. Okay. here we got this. Okay, going on to this next slide. Here's where I want to do something a little bit different. First of all, I want to center the text, so I'm just going to click on the centering, and I want to change it to blue just to be consistent, and I'm going to change it to bold so it's there. Probably make it a little larger, probably too large. Okay, and then what I want to do, here is probably I want to center this too. So I found out that George Taylor was the first manager of the Dodgers. Well, I don't really like the way that looks, but I'm going to mess with that later. Now, what I want to do here is two things, and I'll show you in a minute why. I want to narrow this down, and I'm going to move this over to the right. This title, I'm going to move to the left, and I want to make that blue and bold. And now let me show you why. One of your requirements for this lab is SmartArt. SmartArt is a graphic way to show your information. And there's two ways to do SmartArt. If I want to insert a SmartArt without any text on a screen, I can just click here anywhere on the screen. Don't click on any of the objects, and I can go to Insert, and I can go over here and I can find SmartArt, which is right here at the top, and I can insert a SmartArt. And there's different kinds. There's a list, and you can look at these graphics when you're doing this. There's one that is called a process, and see they enlarge or they go down a scale. There's cycles, hierarchy. Some people even use these for family trees. So if you click on that, you can see the design over here in the right, the way that it would start one. You've got one with relationships, and you can see how those are part of a whole matrix. There's pyramids. There's all different kinds, and there's also some out on the internet if you don't like any of these. So I could insert one. Say I want to do one like this. I click OK, and there's my SmartArt. All I have to do to enter text is click on one of these boxes. And there's my text. I can enter my text on there. So that's how you start a SmartArt from nothing to start with. I'm going to delete that because what I want to do, I want to delete the whole SmartArt. I want to take this information that I've already typed up, and right up here on the Home tab in the center section, you can convert your current text to SmartArt. So if I convert this, I can look the same way. There are so many different SmartArt graphics. And what I'm converting is managers' names. So I could do it like this one, horizontal bulleted list. And, ooh, that's real small because there are several items in there. Well, I don't like that. So I can either Control Z and start over. If I want to change this design and I don't like that setup, I can go right over here to the layouts, and if I click on the down arrow, I can find more layouts. So see how when I click over these, I can see the different designs, what it would look like. So that one's not too bad. That one's not too bad. So if I go with this one, you see how this is a nice graphic way to show your text. And what that does is it just makes things more interesting. This is an interesting one, the continuous picture list. I want to use that one right now, and let me tell you why. I'm going to leave this one, whoops, I'm going to pick up this whole thing, and I'm going to move this text over here to where I can make this a little larger. And what I am going to do is before I start the next video or before I finish this presentation completely, I'm going to find pictures of each of these managers so that I can enter those in here. And see, that would be that would be nice. So that's how you use SmartArt. That's one way. Now, I put there why I like the Dodgers, and just real quickly, I grew up in the LA area. But look at here. One game I went to, Sandy Koufax rolled an autographed baseball to me underneath the fence. Does that tell you a long time ago? Some of my other slides, we need to add a shape. And one of the things I'm trying, okay, if I want to add a shape into one of these, what I could do is I can go up here to insert, and this is just like we did on Word. If you go to your Insert tab and go over here to your Shapes, on the Shapes you can insert anything, just like we did before. So you know how to do that. So if I wanted to add one of these shapes here, just like that, and I can edit my shape, I can change it to more of the Dodger colors. I can outline it with a lighter color and make sure that my outline is dark enough to where I could see it. So that's the shapes. You can do anywhere that you want to. The next thing is a graph. This information here I thought was very, very interesting. From the day they were formed in 1884 until the end of the 2019 season, the Dodgers have won 10,974, almost 11,000, and they've lost almost 10,000. And I thought this was pretty interesting. They've been in the playoffs 33 times, and of that, 24 pennants and 6 world championships. Well, this is sort of, it's interesting, but it doesn't really reach out and grab you. So if I want to insert a chart, I go up here to the Insert tab, and I go over here to the chart. You pick out what kind of chart you want, and it's just like the ones in Excel, so I don't need to go over those. And I want a 3D chart like this, and watch what happens when I click OK. You see this Excel side that comes up, and it's long enough for you to develop your data for your chart. So I'm going to put in here wins, or I'm going to put games won. And in the next one, games lost. I don't need to capitalize that. Okay, and this is the Dodgers. Okay, Dodgers. Okay, and then I'm going to put my figures in there, 10974 and 9818. But you see here how we've got these extra lines. All you do is highlight those and delete them. If you needed another column, you would add another column here. But then what you have to do, if you add another column, make sure that your range, this blue selection area, includes that column, or else it won't be reflected on your chart. So now that I have my data in there, I can close the Excel side. I don't know why it did that. And I can get this back to the size that I want it and the position that I want it, and then I can manipulate my chart. Well, on this, I think the first thing I would do is add some data labels. And let's see, in the center here, the big thing is keep in mind there are going to be people at the back of the room reading this. So you're going to want to go and increase the font size on this, increase your box so people can see this. and even make it bold if you want to. You're going to have to manipulate these some so people can see this data. And you know, you're going to manipulate the chart just like you did before. You could even expand this. You can break it out for the pie chart. So you can see there, it's pretty well almost 50-50 how many they've won and lost. So that's your charts, your shapes, and your smart art. Keep working on it. Keep entering more data. As you can see, I still have a lot. I want to look up some information on the announcers. I remember Vin Scully, but I don't remember any of the announcers before him. So I'm going to do a little bit of research. So we'll see you in Lab 4.